I'd like to invite the children, anyone who's feeling childlike, to come and join me at the front. Anyone at all? Anyone want to? Anyone? Come on, you said you weren't afraid of me earlier. No? Okay. Why would you? Yeah, why would you? Right? Why would you? Well, a couple of you are, apparently. How are you doing?
Good.
Awesome. Excellent. Do you know what I have here?
No.
What does it look like? What do you think it is?
A whopping stick?
A whopping stick? You think it's a whopping stick?
What it is.
Okay. Anybody? Grayson? From way back there instead of right here? A wish stick? Ooh, that's a good idea. I wish Grayson were sitting at the front. No, it's not a wish stick, apparently. Anyone else? A what stick? A whittling stick. That is a really nice idea because it's a really nice piece of wood. On the other hand, I did paint it, so that would be kind of ruining my paint job, which is terrible to begin with. But anyone else? Sorry? A what? A relay stick. Thank you. That's where you were going. Okay. I was going to say a relay stick. A relay stick? What's that called, Faith? Why, it's called a baton. Good job, Faith. It is indeed. I'm going with baton. It is actually a stick. But we're going to say it's a baton. Back in high school, my brother Terry actually was quite he was very fast and was quite the track athlete. And he was on relay teams many times. And yes, if you ever everybody's seen a relay race, right? Where they pass the baton and the next person, right? I was more of an egg and spoon person, really, but that's what happens in a relay, right? You have one person who has a stick, they pass it to the baton, they pass it to the next person. Do you know what the origin of that was? Is people trying to run away from people with sticks. That's what the origin of that was. No, the origin of that was that back in the day, long before many of us can remember, except maybe Terry, long before any of us can remember, I'm just kidding, because we're talking like before the Common Era, like we're talking really long time ago. But even before me, yeah. That's how they used to send messages. They'd send a runner, and he'd have a cylinder that had the message in it. And he'd run to take the message. They didn't even give him a horse. He'd just run. Right? And that's how they sent messages. And then that became a race. And so on and so on and so on, right? So that's the origin of the baton, was that you passed it to the next person, and originally it had a message in it. Do you think that's what Jesus does?
No.
He's passed us the baton. We have the message. He talks. He doesn't just pass us a stick.
No.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
I'm holding this out to you. Please take it from me. There we go. See, I think that's how the ascension story actually went. I think it went like Jesus saying, would you guys please just take over from me and go and do, like I showed you everything. You know what you're doing. Now go and do it. And they went, that's just a stick. Why are you pointing it at me? I think you should talk more. And then Jesus would go, do you want this to become a whopping stick? And then they'd get the idea finally that they needed to go and do something. Do you think that's how it went?
Probably.
Yeah.
You're the one who knows it.
You're thinking I'm old enough to have been there, right? Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. That's awesome. I think that's what happens in the story, is that it's time for Jesus to pass the baton. It's kind of that simple. In fact, it's so simple that I think at first the disciples didn't get it. That they didn't get that they knew. It was kind of like that moment in John where Jesus says, you know the way. And Thomas says, we don't know the way. What's the way? If only Jesus had had the stick at the time, They would have learned soon. No, I'm kidding. That's not the way to go. But it's a baton, right? Jesus passes the baton to us, right? So it's up to us now. Or it's up to me now.
Yeah.
It's up to you now. Now it's up to you. Okay. That's the point of the story. Thank you for coming up and listening and handing me the stick. Thanks, Marion.